Welcome to Florida Men on Florida Men with Greg, Wayne, Josh, and Cameron, the podcast where Floridians discuss the crazy but true stories that always seem to take place in Florida. And we are here today with our good friend, Bump.
What's up?
What is happening?
In Florida.
In Florida.
And so he's an amazing artist and entrepreneur in our hometown. And so we want to just give him a moment, put the spotlight on him, and just tell us what you do, who you are, and what you're about.
Well, I tell really bad dad jokes all the time.
Love
So I'm pretty good expert at that.
Our style.
And my kids are 8 and 10, Emerson and Finn, and they're just like, Dad, stop. It's not funny.
No more.
But yeah, I'm a freelance illustrator. That's my entrepreneur day job. That's what I do. I get to wake up every morning, put on some work clothes, and draw.
Love it.
That's cool.
And then I do the Lowdown with Bump. It's my podcast as well. So we're like tag teaming today.
Yeah, we are.
And then just got a bunch of really cool big things about to happen for me and like my family here in Lakeland soon. So just excited for all those things to happen.
That's so cool. And it's just an awesome vibe. And I've been rocking his hat for like 2 months.
Yeah, it's kind of getting worn out.
It is. I need to get another one.
I do. I had a company. They're called Invisible Creature. They were my favorite designers, and they have a hat, and I would wear it till it fell apart. I would buy another one, and then I probably went for 4 of them before they discontinued making the hats. I'm like, no. But yesterday they just announced 3 new hats. I told them, there goes our money.
Cool.
Buying some more hats.
You can buy them in bulk this time.
Yeah, I love it. So, but I'm the same way. I get a hat and I just wear it to death. But I have no hair either, so that's the other reason.
Yeah,
You got to protect it.
Yeah, I gotta
protect
protect that baldness.
Yeah.
Josh actually cuts my hair.
That's what I do.
Yeah, and
That's why Wayne wears hats all the time.
I never brush it. He cuts it in a way. It's just like a super, kind of chill, relax, throw a hat on it. So
It's called a guard on a clipper.
yeah, that's awesome.
You guys remember, he thinks it's like a work of art.
It's guard number 8, and
Every time I see it,
one lap, the Flobies.
Come on,
The Flobies hair. Yeah,
It's like
on
the vacuum.
the vacuum. Yeah,
That's
what
it.
we need to go back to.
That's what he does.
Yep. Amen.
So we're gonna get hooked on some headlines. Cameron's got some. What's happening in Florida?
All right, so this headline was sent into us by a lot of people.
Okay,
I mean, probably 50, 60, at least in like a day or two.
Whoa.
I think this is probably the most classic Florida story that you could get.
Uh-huh.
So if you can imagine, late at night, you're asleep.
Yep.
All of a sudden, you're hearing crashes in your kitchen.
Space shuttle.
What's the first thing you think?
Space shuttle has
Space
crashed
shuttle.
into my house.
meth head.
Yeah, meth head, probably.
I was going to go for aliens.
Yeah,
but,
aliens. So
they're lost.
in this situation, there was an 11-foot alligator in the kitchen when the family woke up
Come on,
to check out what was going on.
that's a blessing.
Yeah. So 11-foot alligator.
This
Kind of-
wasn't at the Gatorland Park.
No, this is Clearwater.
Okay.
So same thing. Basically, all of Clearwater is Gatorland.
Gatorland.
And the alligator smashed through a window
Good.
in the kitchen, came through that window.
It's nice to know gators are being proactive in their attacks.
They're
and
getting
not
way
just-
too smart.
Yeah.
I thought only bears knew how to open windows.
I know. What do we do now?
Who has a window
Like
that an
wall.
alligator, a window that low, like to the
I think
floor?
it was like
There's like a window down to the floor, which
Yeah, I
that's
thought
rule number one.
when
You
I
don't
first
have
heard
that.
the story, I thought it was a sliding glass door, but it was a window.
Yeah, it's a window.
He just booped right through it.
Yeah, so if you learn anything from this headline, don't have windows that go down the floor.
So I
Otherwise,
need to change.
you have
my
alligators in
entire-
your house.
What's the solution? Just move out, I guess.
Yeah. You definitely move out.
What did the family do?
They called the cops. A trapper came in, and
And then he
alligator.
left, and he's like,
Yeah, alligator killed them all. So.
Yeah, alligator killed them all.
Got a Rambo moment.
Alligator
I heard a
owns the
similar
real estate.
story where a guy was flying his plane, and as he landed, an alligator jumped up and ripped the wing off and caused the plane to
Jeez.
crash, but the alligator died too.
Thank
So I guess they got some ups if they can get a plane
Yeah.
wing or a window like
Good
that.
Lord.
This is amazing.
I've seen pictures where they can ring doorbells. I don't know why they're ringing doorbells, but
What?
They're polite.
This is the
They're
most
polite.
confusing set of 3 alligator stories I've ever heard. Rips a wing off a plane,
Yeah.
rings a doorbell, and then one's like, I'll do B&E right now.
Yeah, burglars the house.
yeah.
I mean, that was his
ringing a doorbell.
Airbnb, you know.
The funny thing is, people who aren't from Florida, they think alligators are like mythical creatures. Like they're just kind of like
Well, they're
drag,
dinosaurs.
drag you into
Well,
the
for
lake,
ringing
right? Sure.
doorbells And
But-
ripping plane wings off.
When I'm pretty comfortable, I feel like I'm not walking around afraid of them, but hearing stuff like that, I'm just like, terrified.
But we're
You gotta
also
have a-
spoiled. We have Circle B down the road from us, and
Right.
you can walk next to an alligator. Like
Sure.
it's not like Busch Gardens or a zoo. They're right there beside
Yeah,
you.
what is it, like alligator lane or trail or something that you have like alligators on both sides of you?
Well,
ponds.
that one went
Terrifying.
viral a couple of years ago. The massive
yeah.
one. It
Yeah.
was like all over the internet,
Yeah.
and it was right there by like a hiking trail, just chilling.
It's like you said, it's our unicorn.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So that was sent into us by a lot of people. The next one, This is great. Classic. Works really well
More
for
classic than that?
2019.
Okay.
Florida woman twerks to
Hey,
distract from shoplifting.
Come on.
Clever.
Wow.
Very clever.
I
So,
think, yeah. I could probably be burglarized if I had a
Somebody
twerker
twerking in your house.
in my vicinity.
Yeah.
It's like a optical illusion. You have to look.
Yeah.
You can't look away.
Like a
'cause
car
you go,
crash.
Draws your attention.
What could happen? You don't know.
No.
It's a
But would
twerker.
you shoplift through your twerking skills? You know, I mean, it's
That's
like
it.
you're gonna rattle it out. Like, I'm not holding anything.
Exactly. How do you, like, where are you hiding stuff?
That was already there.
So basically, this happened in Pembroke Pines.
Uh-huh.
There was two women. One of them was the twerker,
Okay.
Okay.
and I think that's the
It's a Torquay.
correct.
That's fine.
yeah.
Twerky is who gets twerked on. I
Oh,
believe.
that's right.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah.
She was the twerker, and then there was somebody that was stealing all the clothes, about $500 in clothes.
That is so
while
cool.
When they reviewed
the twerker
CCTV
distracted
to
everybody.
watch the twerker again,
Yeah.
that's when they saw, they're like, is someone moving back there with all
Yeah.
these clothes? The whole
They
They had it
refrigerator?
on repeat, showing everybody in the store.
Yeah.
Look what happened earlier, and then
Mesmerized.
that's when they figured it out.
Dang
so
it.
So she got busted?
they did. They got busted.
Right? You always
Of
do.
course.
But they'll probably get their own twerk show.
Did y'all
Yeah.
see that video that went viral where it's these two guys are shoplifting at a convenience store,
Uh-huh.
and one guy's distracting the clerk while the other guy's in the back filling his backpack? Well, while they're doing that, a guy comes in with the gun and tries to rob the store.
Yeah.
So the guy who was distracting the clerk ran back and told his buddy. And so they're hiding in the back, and the guy's got a shotgun in the guy's face. He's trying to rob the store. So the guy's like, you can see him silently, like, let's do something. So one guy takes a skateboard and he rolls it at the other end of the store. And then the other two guys ran around and they jumped the guy.
What?
So,
So the people that were
yeah.
stealing
Well, hang on.
beat up the other guy that was trying.
It
They
gets-
couldn't have any competition.
It
They
gets
had to take
better.
out
Yeah,
the
right. So it
competition.
gets better. So they roll the skateboard. The guy turns. They run behind him, tackle him.
Uh-huh.
They grab the stuff they stole
And
and the skateboard.
Yeah.
And they took the gun that the guy had dropped because they hit him, and they
Yeah.
threw it to the clerk, and they ran out. So they stole their
What?
stuff, but they also saved the guy. They
That's a
stole
Florida
chips. They were
story.
stealing potato chips. This guy was stealing.
Like
Jeez.
tons of money.
But it made me think of that when we talk about the twerking. They're just
skateboard.
Yeah, you got to draw the line at some point.
Not at twerking though.
There was a
twerking.
headline that was sent in a few months ago where a guy got arrested for bringing an alligator into a convenience store.
Mm-hmm.
He was just
Yeah.
carrying it. I mean, minding his own business, and people
And we
freaked
talked
out.
about it because you can't leave it in a car because someone will break the window out.
Yeah.
Right.
Because
to
of the
save it.
heat.
When it was a baby, it's not going to do anything.
Yeah.
Right.
Take a
I mean,
finger off, maybe.
We've all stolen from supermarkets.
Right.
Well,
I mean, I stole Dagwood's.
that's a different
meat.
podcast.
Oh,
I think
Thought
I
we were
have,
all gonna
I have
share.
once, but I was terrified. I was like a piece of gum or something like that.
oh, here we go. Of course,
He
he's
still
gonna
feels
minimi-
bad about it.
He's going to
I
minimize
still feel
it.
bad about it. Yeah, I do.
It was the gum aisle. He stole the entire gum aisle.
But I feel hooked on those headlines, though.
Yeah, feel good.
I brought one headline to share with you guys. I don't know if you
for
read this
sure.
one
Let's
before.
hear it.
I don't have the whole story. I just have the main headline. But a guy received $37,000 as a payment from the cops from a lawsuit.
Cool.
Because he got arrested because they thought that the glaze that fell off his glazed donut on his
Yep.
shirt was meth.
Come on.
And so he won a lawsuit saying,
I didn't
like,
know how much he ended up getting.
it was like
Wow.
$37,000. He sued him. So
Jeez.
Jeez.
Dude, and the thing
That's
about
great.
it,
How long did he spend locked up? Because
that glaze was meth.
Yeah.
that's the thing, is it makes you wonder, like, I mean, the cops arrest this guy based on obviously like a visual of what they think it is.
Yeah.
How long does it take you to go, okay, well, let's test it and see like
Yeah,
if this
yeah,
is
yeah.
meth or not? You know what I mean? Like,
Like, didn't do
They
the
didn't do the old taste test.
dip the pinky and put it in.
you're supposed to.
Rub
I
it
guess
on-
I'll just leave the glaze that's
gums.
on my floorboards now.
So I guess meth and glaze look the same.
37K.
There you go.
I've never seen meth, but I've seen glaze. So,
You
what I
don't
know
know.
from meth is Breaking Bad,
yep,
and so I'm pretty sure it's supposed to be blue.
You don't know
And
if you haven't
then
seen meth. That's all
The
I'm
meth
saying.
stories.
that's true.
You could have seen meth, but thought it was glaze.
Yeah.
That is true.
Yeah, maybe.
So
That's a
So
good
maybe,
word, man.
maybe we've all had meth and didn't know it.
That's why those donuts are so good.
all
Keep
those,
going
all
back.
those trendy donut shops opening
Can't get
up
enough.
around.
I love it. But
So,
Josh-
guys, I had some listeners write in,
okay.
and they said they love y'all's candor and talks, and they want to know, what shows did y'all grow up with that inspired the people that you are today?
Okay.
Like TV shows.
Like TV shows.
Yeah, not like ski shows, like
man.
Well,
Cypress
like
Gardens.
a Cypress Gardens.
You know, I was in a ski show, so
Oh yeah,
sorry.
Cameron was actually.
Lake Hollingsworth, baby.
How humble is this guy? He did
Lakeland
the
Ski Club.
They call him the Ski King,
Lakeland
actually,
Ski Club. Yeah.
Yep.
in high school.
Yep. They did.
I grew up with, I think was on Nickelodeon. I was a Nickelodeon kid.
Okay.
So I guess you could say I was kind of wild and crazy.
Mm-hmm.
No, but I did watch a show called Wild and Crazy Kids. And
yes,
I would sit at home and fantasize about like beating those kids because the challenges were all so easy. Like it was like throw a water balloon, as far as you can, or put your forehead down on a baseball bat and like spin around and then run through an obstacle course. And these kids
doesn't ring a bell.
I forget. Cam's the youngest.
Yep.
Anytime we bring up anything, Cam's like, I don't know.
I've never seen it.
Different decade.
But these kids would fail like horribly at these challenges.
And it was like 30 kids on a team.
I know.
And there was like 4 teams, and they all got T-shirts that said "Wild and Crazy Kids," but the stuff they did was not wild or crazy.
No, not
at all.
Just
sounds like somebody filmed like a youth summer camp.
I 100% is what it was. But the host
describing it as
the host was a guy named Omar Gooding, and he's Cuba Gooding Jr.'s little brother. Hand to God, yeah. Google it.
Well, he got the better.
So he directed Netflix too.
Like.
I think he just did like Wild and Crazy Kids, and that was it. That was it for him.
He didn't do Boat Trip.
I don't think so. But no, that was my show. Wild and Crazy Kids. Anything on Nickelodeon.
I think he was a radio stuntman.
Was it?
When Radio was pushing the cart but fell because he got someone threw a beer can at him.
That was him?
Get out of here, Radio.
No, that's Cuba.
Yeah, but
Omar was his little brother was a stuntman.
I got
you can't have the money go down, get hit by a beer can.
That's true.
Money.
That is true.
You can't have talent.
Yeah.
I've always said that.
Yeah. Cam?
Let's see.
It's probably going to be something
TV shows
on TV like 2 years ago.
I'm going to go with Saved by the Bell.
Okay.
Classic.
College years? If you say college years.
Not college years. Those were a disgrace.
If you say when they worked at the beach with Leah Remini?
Yeah, she was in that episode.
What was the little restaurant that they were always at?
The Peach Pit.
No.
That was 90210, wasn't it?
Max. I forget whatever the restaurant
Max.
they were.
The Max.
Yeah.
We're going to the Max.
Yeah.
So
bunch of neon.
I think I really, look like
a Screech guy.
AC Slater. I really modeled my physique after him.
Yeah. I was talking more hair or face.
You know why I wear those wrestling leotards all the time, too.
The maroon ones.
Yeah.
Just be ready to wrestle whenever
that was a good looking cast.
Yep. That was a good show.
Yeah.
Bump, what did you watch?
Yeah.
Well, I'm older than you guys. I'm 42, so I grew up on a bunch of stuff. My
black
parents,
and white stuff.
My parents wouldn't give us, black and white, silent films actually. My family did not get cable till I was probably in high school.
Mm-hmm. Oh man!
And I think we actually got it for free because the misconnecting it by the neighbors. But
yeah,
I grew up watching this show called 3-2-1 Contact on PBS.
That's cool.
They're like mysteries and also educational stuff. But also like Family Ties with Michael J. Fox was also a fun one. And they
never heard of it. Never heard of the guy.
Well, it's like these cavemen. But I loved anything with John Wayne back in the day.
Nice.
For sure.
I was always a Western guy.
I can tell in your personal style. Just looking at you, I can tell this guy. He's
John Wayne.
Got Durangos on. He has a lot of
chaps.
Yeah.
2.6 guns. So awesome. Those are the things I always end up, watching. But I was also in a very conservative, strict home, so we were very limited what we saw and watched.
For sure.
I heard, like the TV had to walk up, turn the dial.
Oh yeah, there's no clickers, and as old people call it, there's no remotes.
I remember when we didn't have cable and we had one of those 30-foot tall antennas.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
My dad made me.
He'd
open the window, and then I have to go out there and spin the antenna until it was in the right spot.
You're not going to get any sob stories from someone in Lakeland Ski Club. This guy. We had it hard back then. I had to become a solo skier because I couldn't afford 2 skis.
That is true.
So,
all right, Josh, what's yours?
Mine, and I haven't prepared y'all for this.
Okay.
But I was a PBS kid also. Before PBS kids were cool.
It was just PBS by itself.
It was just PBS. Any show that you put a kid in front of was a kid show.
Right.
As the Mitch Hedberg goes, every kid's a kid's book if the kid can read.
Right.
That's true.
So I brought Wishbone. Wishbone was my show. Wishbone was a dog.
The dog?
Yeah.
Okay.
The dog. But he introduced you to literature. And he was in the show also as himself, as a dog. But as a kid, you don't know.
Now, wait, did the dog talk or was there like subtitles while he barked?
There was like just a voice, which is weird because as a kid, or as a human adult, you'd say, this is kind of dumb. This is kind of bogus.
It's not animated.
It's not animated. Okay. It's not.
Real dog.
It's a real dog. Real Jack Russell Terrier. So what I found on the internet was someone's creative writing where they wrote what would be the pitch meeting for Wishbone. And I thought it would be the best way to introduce the audience and everybody to Wishbone.
Yeah,
Awesome.
I love it because I will say this as an adult
Yes.
human.
Thank you.
The concept of Wishbone is ridiculous. It's
A live Jack Russell Terrier.
a Jack Russell Terrier reenacting classic literature with a bunch of kids.
Yep.
But the dog doesn't talk, and so the kids, it doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
It really doesn't make any
So
sense.
what we're going to read, what I've brought copies of, is everybody's going to play a part,
Oh, awesome.
and
So we have a script.
you have to
we have an actual
nail
script.
your part.
Okay.
Nail your flipping part.
I feel like I'm in a Christmas play at church.
Which part am
Yeah, I
I?
know. Is this the cantata?
I've actually bolded the lines for my parts as for y'all's parts.
We're just going to freestyle it?
Yeah.
All right, so it looks like there's 4 parts. I'll be suit 1.
Okay. I will be visionary.
Of course you will.
Naturally. Someone needs to play narrator. They will be in the brackets, reading the bracket parts. Maybe maybe narrator and suit 3 can be the same person.
I'll take that.
Okay. So suit 1 is Bump.
All right. Suit
I thought I was
one.
suit 1.
Oh, sorry.
Suit 2.
I wasn't
All
listening.
right,
Suit 2.
Yeah, you're suit 2. There we go.
Okay.
Guys, this is
So
game
is that the
changing.
apprentice or the intern? Suit
Wow,
2?
this looks super official, by the way.
This is game changing, guys.
This even has
We
like
have
an author at the top.
Yeah, we have an
So we're doing
official-
like traditional radio now, where we're like,
Oh, yeah. War of the
acting-
World
yeah.
style.
This is the
like what you
first
grew
for
up
us.
on.
Yeah.
War of the World.
you can buy us cassettes at Cracker Barrel now. Little spin rack.
So this is by a woman named Abby Finbert. Traditional Dutch name.
Abby, what's happening?
This is the pitch meeting for Wishbone.
Okay, let's hear it.
Let me get in character.
What's the story, Wishbone? What's this you're dreaming of? Such big imagination on such a little bud. What's the story, Wishbone? Do you think it's worth a look? It kinda seems familiar, like a story from a book. Shake a leg now, Wishbone. Let's wag another tail.
So there's this dog,
All right, we're listening.
and he loves books.
Everyone is nodding.
He knows all about classic books.
Adorable.
Like a cartoon dog?
No, a live Jack Russell Terrier.
Everyone is confused.
He belongs to a boy named Joe. Joe and his friends' day-to-day scraps resemble the plot lines of great novels, and Wishbone picks up on it.
Wishbone?
The dog.
So the dog can talk.
Nope. Joe and his friends and Joe's mom just think he's a regular dog. Wishbone can narrate, though.
All right, so when we travel into the world of novel,
Live actors, costumes, the works, mini masterpiece theater. Also, Wishbone is a character.
Narrating?
No, he is an actual character in the book.
okay, I get it. In the book part, all the characters are played by dogs.
You get nothing.
No.
Wishbone plays a character. For example, Romeo in Romeo and Juliet. And other parts are played by adult human actors.
But you said that he can't talk to humans.
No. See, in the world of the book, nobody thinks he's a dog, and people understand him. Just not in the real world. But then, what is real, right?
Like they just never acknowledge he's a dog.
I mean, he wears a costume, so
Everyone is confused.
Yeah, like really confused, actually.
it's imagination, guys. Kids understand. And that's what reading's all about. Personally, when I read, I picture Ivanhoe as a dog like half the time.
Literally, Wishbone is wearing a Romeo costume and standing in front of a grown woman in an Elizabeth gown who's asking him to deny the father and refuse thy name, but no mention of the fact that he's a dog.
Correct. The classics really resonate with kids' everyday lives. Maybe you don't want to babysit your little sister, and that's just like A Tale of Two Cities. Or, I mean, off the top of my head, just thinking like what kids these days are into, maybe our man Joe starts a business delivering groceries, which seems really great at first until a corporal-megalomania transform him into a prepubescent Midas lording over the suburbs. The connections are almost too easy. I mean, you know what I mean.
Narrator.
Everyone's confused.
So here's the thing, Lance, there's a lot of great stuff here.
Mhm.
Creativity, out of box thinking,
Out of the kennel, if you will.
The visionary will not.
and the dog teaching kids to read concept. That's perfect for our demographic.
He does not teach them to read. He inculcates in them a passion for timeless narratives.
Okay. So how does the dog read? Has he got a monocle?
The same way you do, Dave, with an open heart and a ready mind.
The visionary begins to hum.
This seems like it would be a lot more feasible as an animated series.
No. He is a live Jack Russell Terrier. His eyes are fathomless pools of knowledge reflecting all the pathos of great literature. The suffering and beauty of humanity bled into the page and breathed in by generations of readers, connecting them, us, in an unspoken communion of shared loneliness that both celebrates and eases our pain. This is where we see the books that they do more than describe our human condition, Kevin. By shaping our minds and drawing us ever closer together, they create it.
In a dog's eyes?
A Jack Russell Terrier's eyes, yes.
Josh Mills, everybody.
The end.
Awesome.
The end.
Wow, that segment was way longer than I thought it was going to be.
That was
I'm sweating.
37 days of practice every day. I hired a coach from Fiverr.
I mean, it really paid off.
What was
We
his name?
sound like idiots. I mean, we couldn't even read it.
I had no idea what was happening.
Yeah.
So when I pitch a show about dogs, I'm gonna go differently.
Gotta go a different one.
Go a different route.
I love it. So I've got a story. It is there's no Jack Russell Terriers. Tonight we're going to start off talking about one prominent and inspirational Floridian. But this individual inspired a group of Floridians who went on to do some really amazing work.
Yes, I did. Thank you.
Like the ski club.
There it is.
So that's why I'm here.
So we're gonna try and cover both the individual and the group in a way that really gives them the honor they deserve. But
AJ, Backstreet Boys. I knew it, guys.
the Backstreet Boys made their way onto the show.
They live here in Florida.
Let's see. Beanie Backus was born January 3rd, 1906 in Fort Pierce, Florida.
I'm going to take the easy joke. Bacchus is pronounced babies.
Nope.
Beanie babies.
No. Beanie was a nickname, actually. His real name was Albert Ernest Backus.
I can see where that came from.
But when your name is
It's
Albert
a smooth
Ernest,
transition.
yeah, you come up with a nickname. Beanie was a self-taught painter who started off painting things around his neighborhood for friends and family, but eventually he went on to do it part-time.
Bob Ross. This is Bob
as a
Ross.
job.
We
It's
already
like a
did
graffiti artist doing that way.
Kind of, yeah.
Whoa.
He specialized in billboards and marquees. And so basically, whenever there was an event coming up in town locally, the organizers would reach out to Beanie and he would show up and do custom art advertising the event. And so that was kind of significant because Beanie, he was prominent in the African-American community, but he was coming up in a time where systematic racism was normal, especially in the South with Jim Crow laws and everything. So with his part-time business, he was kind of building relationships with white business owners and people who normally wouldn't associate with him.
This could be any time.
Well, sure, yeah, but way worse back then.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. No, definitely way worse.
But so because of this and these relationships, people on kind of both sides were seeing him as like a unifier, someone who
Nice.
brought the entire community together, regardless of race. And so what's fascinating about Beanie is that his influence in his painting was literally just the state of Florida, like the state itself.
Okay. Did you aim this episode because we got a special guest who's a illustrator?
Maybe that's part of it. And the
Surprise, my
fact,
I
grandfather.
can
and the
tell.
fact that we're all Floridians.
Beanie Bump.
But
Beanie
no,
Bumpkus.
his style was distinctly Floridian. And so he would paint billboards. They were usually like beach scenes with palm trees or like kind of tropical bushes and things that kind of like maybe seem cliche now, but they're cliche because he kind of started it back in the day. I mean, it's just, that was like his
The
vibe.
reason for the cliche.
Yeah. And he just loved the state. And so like, for example, his calling card was the hibiscus
Okay.
flower.
Okay.
But he loved having kind of a fantasy theme when it came to Florida. So, hibiscus is usually pink or red. He would do it, blue or yellow. And so you'd recognize the plant and, and the flowers and stuff.
Yeah.
And you could tell it was
"What?"
Florida, but it was like his
Okay.
spin. It was kind of like how he
Different
saw the
enough.
state. Right. Yeah. It was his calling card. And so it's interesting because now, that style it's basically what you see like on postcards.
Yeah.
Yeah.
People see it and they're not from Florida and they're like, oh, that's so Florida.
Yeah.
Floridians see it and we're like, oh, it's kind of cliche, but it's because of this guy. Like he was just kind of the one who started it all.
Trendsetter.
Or he was. And so as his popularity grew, Beanie became a leader in African American culture and the arts, and it's estimated that he took over 200 young black painters under his wing and
What?
made them his
Dang.
students.
Jeez.
And so these kids who were growing up without any kind of like hope or direction, they're coming to Beanie now, and he's like, "Hey, like you can paint," and
Nice.
not only taught him how to paint, but like you would, like if you're a student, you kind of gravitate towards, at least initially, the style of your teacher. Because it's all you know, it's what you see.
That's what they're teaching.
Right, sure.
Yeah.
But it's
and-
also probably a great emotional outlet for what they're going through or seeing back then.
Absolutely.
Real. I used to draw a lot.
Because they say, like, artists, we're the ones that capture like what's going on in history and retell the stories.
Sure.
Through art.
Listen
So.
to this.
Absolutely.
Humble king is humble.
No, it's so
They,
true.
they say that artists are just like
Storytellers.
the best people ever.
Keeping it going.
No, but it's so true though, because like the thing about it is like now instead of just it being Beanie kind of by himself,
Yeah.
there's hundreds of these
Yes.
artists who are painting in this style,
Whoa.
right? And so one of Beanie's students was a young man by the name of Harold Newton, and Harold, like Beanie, he would paint landscapes, but he had a new way of kind of like hustling and making money because Beanie kind of cornered the market on marquees and billboards.
Okay.
And so what he
Can't
would
step
do,
on the teacher's toes.
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Stay in your own lane.
Okay.
So what Harold would do is he would paint these paintings, and he would show up wherever there was like, a movie theater, school, like wherever something was happening, and he would sell them out of the trunk of his car.
Oh,
And
geez.
Okay.
he just kind of post up and he's hustling, selling these paintings. And he was making a killing, like making a lot of money because no one's doing
Honestly,
this.
Yeah. I would, if I saw unique art in the trunk of a car.
Yeah, I always stop for trunk art.
Yeah, he does.
Every time I see it.
He
Yeah.
does.
You guys know that about me.
Yeah. It's an addiction for you.
Yeah.
Well, Harold was doing exactly what Beanie taught his students to do. Basically, go make a name for yourself, work hard, show
Nice.
people how gifted you are. And so other students who studied under Beanie, they see Harold selling all of these paintings, and they're like, "I'll try that too."
Mm-hmm.
I'll sell it on a red cart.
Yeah, so
a shopping
they
cart.
literally start
Off a
doing the same
bicycle.
exact thing.
Oh,
They've got very similar styles,
Uh-huh.
and so they start showing up with their cars and selling them
What?
out of the trunks. And it's kind of like what, I don't know, like creative competition. Even when it's friendly, it kind of forces you into a pressure cooker that
Yeah.
makes you
Yeah.
better. You know what
Yeah,
I mean?
yeah,
Like
yeah.
when people in the same town are hustling in the same way you are,
Mhm.
it makes you want to, just be better at your craft. And so,
Yeah, well, like on that matter, like I do a lot of pop-ups all over the state of Florida,
sure,
and I see other people's booths and setups. I'm always like, I need to make mine bigger, I need to
Sure.
make mine brighter
Yeah.
or better. So I imagine they're doing the same thing. Like I'm gonna have my car bedazzled or
right?
have some
Yeah.
smoke machines.
So how do you separate yourself?
Yeah.
Now you've got like dozens of artists who are parking their cars and selling paintings, and they're all doing phenomenally well. It's not like one person's
Dang.
making more money than the other one. It's like they're all making a lot of money.
Mhm.
And this is really important to note because art galleries in South Florida, where they're from, refuse to carry their work simply because they were African American. They wouldn't
Mhm.
carry it.
Mhm.
And so these guys are like, to hell with that. Let's do it ourselves.
Mhm.
Let's park somewhere and let's sell it. And so when these self-promoted out of the trunk car galleries start basically showing up around town and they're really successful, it's a huge slap in the face to the people who thought they were controlling the art scene. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah, the
these
art
guys are
scene
doing
is-
it on their own, and
Yeah.
making it happen. And so it becomes really popular. Harold Newton and 25 of the other painters, they load up their cars and they start traveling up the East Coast.
So like,
And
peace out, Florida.
Take it on tour.
Nice.
Basically, like they
Yeah.
get on they started the A1A in Jacksonville
Uh-huh.
and they go up the one. And so they stop everywhere from Atlanta to New York, and they would just pick a spot, park the car, start selling
Jeez.
art. And it was selling so well that a lot of the times when you bought the painting, it was so wet. Because
So are they like painting the places that
they're still painting Florida.
but like
Nice.
where they're at, are they painting that specific place? Like
No, they're painting
that
Florida.
landscape? Oh,
Yeah, they're
that's-
selling like
okay.
Florida paintings.
Yeah.
And so the paintings were actually still wet because they were that popular. They would sell out
Uh-huh.
and then have to paint on the way somewhere else.
Jeez.
And so
Well, think about it. It's like when people travel, you want to bring something back from that place to say, hey, I
Definitely.
was in
That's
whatever,
right, yeah.
Jamaica or something. Maybe they're like, oh, this is, I don't have to go to Florida now. I can just,
Yeah, here it is. I love it.
Florida came to me.
I got it out of this trunk of this traveling show.
yeah. Well, it went on for decades, and it didn't slow down until the 70s. In the 70s, Disney World kind of showed up, and other corporate companies moved to Florida and relocated, and so that kind of traditional style of art, it kind of was lost in the mix of all that. And so for the most part, they still painted and they kept in touch, but as a unit, as a group, they moved on. Until the mid 1990s, a Florida art historian by the name of Jim Fitch wrote an article about the group in the St. Petersburg Times. And in the article, he called them the Florida Highwaymen
Nice.
because they used to, travel up and down and sell their art.
The highways.
And so that
Like
phrase, the
explain.
Florida Highwaymen, kind of takes flight, and people start recalling all those fond memories. And so there's this community effort to reunite the group.
What?
And so
That's cool.
I
bet it's got to be super collectible now.
Well, in 2001, a few years after this happened, all 26 of the original members
No
reunited under the name the Florida Highwaymen, and they start traveling again.
What? Can you imagine
like
getting
together?
a piece by
Again,
each
yeah.
one?
Wow.
How cool would that be?
And they're all in their 70s and 80s now. And so present day, a few of them have passed away, but the surviving members still to this day are on tour.
What?
They still do it.
Unreal.
They visit libraries, schools, wherever people will have them.
You think something like this, something so cool. I mean, I don't watch the news or anything like that, so it could be on the news. But you think I would have heard about it? I mean, I have my finger on the pulse of the art community.
Well, it's fascinating because now all 26 of them have been inducted into the Florida Artist Hall of Fame. So from Beanie Backus, following his dreams and teaching students, all the way up to these 26 amazing artists. They literally changed kind of the art culture in Florida for decades. And so,
Yeah, I mean, I don't know any of the names individually. But
right, but the
I've
Florida
heard
Highwaymen.
I know the
yeah.
Highwaymen. Now that you said that, I can picture what that style and the art looks like.
Yeah,
And I've
for
seen
sure.
those and
Yeah.
heard that name before.
Describe it.
My takeaway is I didn't
It's
know
like
there was a Florida Art Hall of Fame.
Right.
I mean, you're not in it yet?
You will be, bro.
We've submitted your name like 100 times.
Gosh, yeah.
We love it.
Oh man,
They've actually told us stop submitting. We're not going to let this guy in now because you keep bothering.
Yeah, because we've annoyed them so much.
half of them nominate themselves anyway, probably.
I dig it. But yeah, that's the story of Beanie Backus and the Florida Highwaymen and their influence on the Florida art culture.
That's
So
nuts.
That's pretty cool.
yeah, I thought it was dope. But dude, it's been fun hanging out with you, man.
Yeah, definitely.
And we want to give you a chance again to plug your social.
Well, thanks. Yeah, it's just at Bump Galletta, BumpGalletta. That's I'm on Instagram, very active there, and then bumpgalletta.com.
Nice.
And then the podcast, which you guys will be joining me on as guests, is the
Yep.
Lowdown with Bump. And I just
Cool.
I get inspired by people. That's how I create. I hear people's stories or see things, and that's what kind of inspires what I create. And so I just interview people, and I know where I want to go with their story. So it's
Nice.
like a conversation to get there, and hopefully that inspires someone else.
It's
And,
nice to know we're still invited on the show.
I do want to. I follow his Instagram, and it's super awesome. Like I love.
It's really
the-
impressive.
I
Bro,
think
you're invited
last
on
week,
the show. You don't have to.
Yeah, I don't have to butter him up. I saw last week that if you're at Magic Kingdom, drew something at Disney, and then you basically hide a piece of art or put something
yeah,
piece
it's like
of art
part
somewhere.
of my calling card. That's kind of how I got some of my break. Is I would and it came from just actually honestly some therapy I had to go through to deal with some PTSD.
Mhm.
And so I just hide art everywhere I go. There's always
that the free
special,
art?
free art. It's just in my
Yeah.
car. I was just inspired
That's
by
cool.
Banksy, just leaving his
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
graffiti everywhere, and it's like it would just mysteriously appear, and there's some sort of story to it. So mine was just like I'm gonna leave a little bit of myself behind, and
That's
Yeah,
clever.
that's
some
so
finds it's
cool,
cool.
man.
If
I
not.
love it.
So that's just
Yeah.
kind of
I think if we could be your highwaymen,
oh,
we would also create art. And
yeah, that's awesome.
You don't want to see mine, dude.
That last piece
Record a
of art-
podcast and hide it somewhere, or do like the Wu-Tang, record it and then like charge $1 million for it.
Here's a USB stick hidden somewhere. It was like, I'm not
It's got
putting
a
that in
hidden
my
A long
episode.
lost
Our show.
episode.
I love it. Well, thank you so much, man.
thanks for the love.
for
It's
hanging
awesome.
out. And
We also want to thank the Vanguard Room for having
Oh,
us.
yeah.
here.
Yeah,
We're not
absolutely.
in our normal studio, so
Yeah, that crap hole.
yeah.
Give it up for Matt and Bryce for
Yeah,
engineering
thank you
and
so
let us
much.
meet in here. This place is
It's
awesome
super
in
cool.
Dixieland.
super cool place. And
TheVanguardRoom.com,
Yeah.
there it is.
Nice.
Lakeland, Florida.
Lakeland, Florida.
Well, thank you guys so much for tuning in. We love you as always, and we will see you
next
again
See you.
next week.
Peace out.